Welcome to this edition of Safety First. I'm your host, Tim Kelly. October is Fire Prevention Month, and we have two experts on that subject right here to talk to us today. And of course, we have Fire Chief Cedric Scott, who's going to be joining us, and also Deputy Fire Chief James Dickens. So thank you both for being with us today.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Thank you. Well, Chief Scott, we're going to start with you, and just to talk about some of the things with the Suffolk Fire Rescue Department that people may not realize. I think when we focus on Fire Prevention Month, we think about, okay, we need to do this and this in our home, and certainly all the great education efforts that your department puts out there. But it's also a good opportunity to remind everyone what the Fire and Rescue Department does for citizens and businesses here in the city of Suffolk.
Well, again, thanks for having me. It's a great honor to be a part of the program. Suffolk Fire and Rescue is made up of a number of dedicated people, both career staff as well as volunteers as well. We're very proud of that. And the services that we provide are now in the areas of fire protection, emergency medical service, where we provide advanced life support to our citizens who are in need of medical care. And we also provide emergency management as a part of the three services that we provide. Traditionally, people have known the Fire and Rescue Department to be tied to fire only, but as an extension of that, the Fire Marshal's Office has an inspections process where we participate in when new businesses come into the city. The Fire Marshal's Office plays a part of that. We review plans to assist in that process to help businesses come online. We also provide fire safety education throughout the community. Partners in Education is one program that we're particularly proud of. And we're out and we're trying to talk to people of all ages. We try to get out and speak to the youth, as well as get into what I like to call our seasoned citizens.
Yes,
we like to continue to reach out to them as well. So we try to have a presence in the community. We try to be active in the community, both from an educational standpoint, as far as educating our public about fire safety education and how to be more fire safe. But we also are there to, when you need us, to answer that 911 call when there is an emergency.
And I think you touched on it right there, but the fact is, certainly y'all are responsive when a situation comes up, but it's also the proactive nature of the department with all the outreach programs, the education efforts, as you noted, to all different levels and ranges of citizens throughout the city of Suffolk, and businesses too.
Right.
Because again, when you think about the fact you have a new business, you're building a building, y'all have to be involved from phase one to make sure that everything is in place, that it's built in a safe manner and everything is constructed, and certainly knowing what the layout is if you have to respond to an incident there. And that may be an area that people were not realizing that the Fire and Rescue Department plays an integral part in doing that in the planning process, which again is just something to focus on. But again, the proactive nature, I think, is the key thing there. And certainly you've been with the city of Suffolk for how long now?
Just a bit over 5 months.
5 months. Just what's your opinions? Of course, certainly you've got into the job now. You've had a chance to meet everybody. Now you're involved in the operations of it from the perspective of you got your feet wet. Now we're on board, certainly implementing things. Just your philosophy on where the department is right now as a whole.
I believe we're in a great position.
Yes,
there are great opportunities ahead for our city and for our department. Anytime you're in a growing city, that's a great opportunity there to continue to provide services even at an even higher level than you do. It challenges you to, as you know, we're a very large landmassed area, and that causes you to be strategic in your thinking about the future placement of fire stations, the future placement of ambulances throughout the city. So there's a big challenge there. And so it's an exciting time because one of the things that fire chiefs like to do, among those things, we like to buy fire trucks, we like to buy ambulances, we like to hire people, promote people, and give people an opportunity to be successful in their career. And those are some of the things that, when you're in a growing city and you're having to continue to reach to meet those demands, it gives one an opportunity to do some of those things. And I think we're very fortunate here in the city of Suffolk, and that's one of the things that I've been able to observe since I've been here, is that we have a lot of different a varied number of areas that we protect. We protect water, we have agriculture, we have the urban density, we have extreme growth, and we have historic buildings in our downtown area. We have multi-story buildings that we're responsible for. The strip mall that you will see, which brings on unique challenges in itself. So we have a great opportunity, I believe, to continue to reach higher heights. I think one of the things that we're going to look toward in the future is continue to be more professional. And there are some opportunities out there for accreditation as a fire department. We want to certainly look at that as being a beacon out there that we need to work toward. So my assessment is that Suffolk Fire and Rescue is in great shape. It has had, I believe, great leadership as evidence from where we are, and I think that's attributed to the leadership, both I believe from a standpoint too of mayor and council having public safety as a priority, and I believe that's shown and it's exhibited throughout the community.
Definitely, definitely. And again, welcome. We'd just like to welcome you again, and
thank you.
I look forward to your tenure here and your leadership as far as within the department to get us, as she's noted, moving forward with the growth that the city is experiencing. Certainly a great opportunity, as you noted.
Yes.
Now, Chief Dickens, we'll talk to you, kind of get into the Fire Prevention Month aspect, and preventing kitchen fires, I think, is the theme this year on the national level, and certainly we'll bring that home here to Suffolk. Just talk about some things that people maybe need to consider in and around the home, especially focusing on the kitchen, where I believe one of the statistics I pulled that 2 of every fire starts in the kitchen. So certainly it's a, pardon the expression, a hotspot area for that, but things that people just need to be aware of when they're working in there and doing their daily lives.
Yes, sir. Across the nation, as far as residential fires, most fires do occur in the kitchen. The number 1 cause of kitchen fires is unattended cooking. So the first point we can make is if you're in the kitchen, stay in the kitchen. Right. If you're cooking, just make sure that your cooking operations are attended at all times. If you happen to be sleepy or perhaps have consumed alcohol or anything that may impair your judgment, yes, it's best not to cook under those conditions. Right. As far as things we can do to react to a fire in the kitchen, if one should occur, is to implement that emergency escape plan that we talk about so often. If there's a fire in the kitchen, get everyone out. Anywhere in the house, get everyone out. Implement that plan and dial 911 is the best thing you can do. A couple of tips if there is a fire in the kitchen. Again, the best advice is to just remove yourself from that situation. But if you're able to perhaps take a lid and slide over a pan to smother a fire, turn that burner off, and again, exit the kitchen. Yes. Fire extinguishers, something that we talk about a lot, making sure that there are extinguishers strategically placed throughout your home. Sure. And a lot of times what we have seen is that fire extinguisher placed right next to the stovetop, which if the fire breaks out on the stove, there's your extinguishing method. You're not able to get to it. So we recommend that extinguisher be in place, be properly charged and function, but be in a location where you can reach that, preferably towards your exit, so as you're moving away from the danger, you can grab that extinguisher and take action. Can't stress enough the importance of emergency planning and having smoke alarms throughout your home. Regardless of Fire Prevention Month, those are just 2 common themes that we like to push 12 months out of the year. I like to think that the best way to respond and take care of an emergency is to prevent it from happening to begin with. Correct. So a lot of the tips that we have to offer will prevent those emergencies, but the escape planning and smoke alarms are our method to notify us of an emergency, and then we have a plan in place to react to it.
Now, as far as in the kitchen itself, anything with parents or adults, when you have small children around there, things to think about, because those are little hands and they got a different perspective on things. Right. But some good information to think about when you're cooking and you have small children around. Sure.
A lot of it, the message not only is fire prevention, but also injury prevention, especially burn injuries. We see a lot of those, unfortunately. We like to think of an area around the cooking operation as a kids-free zone, at least 3 feet. Any type of heat source. Keep 3 feet from heat is a common theme that we like to push. Some of the things that we see in kitchen settings a lot of times are just small things that we may not think about that can be problematic later. The dish towel, hanging that dish towel on the handle of the stove
Yes.
or the oven,
Right.
is convenient for the adults, but it's also an opportunity for small hands to reach, grab that dish towel, pull the stove or oven door open, and there's an opportunity for a burn injury there. So we make sure we keep those dish towels away from the oven and stove. Anything that's combustible. A lot of times we may see the roll of paper towels next to the stovetop.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Small hands and even us
Th-
with
yeah,
larger
that's
hands.
true.
Just in the hustle and bustle, we
Sure.
could knock those combustibles over onto the stovetop. And create a fire. So sometimes it's just the little things that if we just slow down and pay attention to can prevent that problem from occurring.
You mentioned smoke detectors earlier, and I know certainly just having one is the first step.
Yes, sir.
But you want to make sure the battery in there actually is functioning. What's a good rule of thumb with that when you're looking at smoke detectors? I know generally I think the thought is to do it maybe around the change in times as far as just sort of a benchmark. When you do this, you do that. But
Right.
what should people do when it comes to smoke detectors as far as placement as well as also making sure, again, those batteries, how often really should you do that?
Sure.
I think that smoke detectors should be placed in the highest parts of the rooms or building. We have smoke risers. I believe a good rule of thumb is to change the batteries when we spring forward in the spring, in April.
Yes, sir.
And then again in October, we'll be moving those clocks back soon.
Yes, sir.
Be a good time to change the battery in the smoke detector. We're spring and fall
Yes, sir.
are great times to change that battery. We want to check the smoke detector monthly to make sure it's working properly. You can just simply press the button, make sure that sound indicates that the smoke detector is working.
Yes, sir.
Now, a smoke detector is also we want to make sure that the smoke detectors we buy, we're conscious of the useful life of the smoke detector. That smoke detector continues to beep once the battery's been placed. It's probably time to replace that smoke detector. I think too, making ourselves aware of the sound of it is important. And so comes with smoke detectors comes practicing an escape plan.
Right.
And we need to do that before there's an emergency, before there's any smoke, before there's any problem. We should practice that.
Yes, sir.
And I believe that you should have and it's been proven that we need once everyone is outside of the home, we need a meeting place. There should only be one meeting place, and everyone knows where that meeting place is, and we go and we meet there to make sure that everyone's accounted for.
Yes, sir.
Also, it is important too, I believe, that if you live upstairs, if you have an upstairs in your home, having a fire escape ladder is good to have in your home, so that these are usually rolled up or in a container under your bed or something. But having an escape ladder so that you can climb down to safety and not have to jump out of a window in the event that that there is a fire. So so those are some things that I believe you can have in place to help you be a lot more safer in your home. We mentioned fire extinguishers earlier, and fire extinguisher use is very easy to learn how. We've used for years. We've used the PASS, PASS, as for how to use a fire extinguisher.
Yes, sir.
And it's simply pull the pin, aim the nozzle, squeeze the trigger, and sweep, sweep, sweep. And that's how we remember
Right.
how to use
Okay.
a fire extinguisher. So, but these are the things that we can spend a Saturday afternoon
Yes, sir.
doing, talking about fire safety, and not waiting until there's an emergency to happen. And I think so. Pre-planning, I think, is very important. And sitting around the table and doing it as a family, I think, is a great idea. And what better time to do it than now than Fire Prevention Month?
Indeed, and I think one of the keys is you talked about the planning, but it's also making sure the equipment that you have in place in the event that something does occur is functioning.
Right.
I mean, you talk about the batteries or making sure the life of the smoke detector, because
Right.
those things do not last forever, and certainly you have them there to help you in the event that something occurs to alert you, but like you said, knowing to recognize the sound.
Right.
And obviously once that happens, both whether you're a small child or a seasoned citizen, as you referenced earlier, knowing where to go.
Exactly.
And then that's whether you're in your own home or whether you're in an apartment complex or whatever, knowing there's a safe place to be so that everyone can be accounted for, so we know, if, unfortunately, if there's someone left behind or whatever.
Right.
And just knowing where to go and knowing the plan, working the plan, and practicing the plan, I guess, are the key essentials in that group right there.
It is.
Very true. And of course, this is also, as we talked about Fire Prevention Month, and one of the other things that actually takes place during the month of October here in the city of Suffolk, open burning. There's a change in the plan from what we implemented over the summer, and this is every year we do this kind of the same thing. And Chief Detectors, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about what does October 1st mean for the citizens here in the city of Suffolk when it comes to open burning? What's the change there?
Yes, sir. City of Suffolk does have an ordinance that governs open burning, and as part of that open burning ordinance, what we refer to as the summer burn ban takes effect May 1st and expires September 30th every year. So October 1st is the beginning of what we call burn season. All open burning in our city requires a permit that's issued through the fire marshal's office. It's probably easier, and it's a pretty comprehensive ordinance, it's probably easier to discuss what you can burn as opposed to what you cannot. But basically, yard debris consisting of tree trimmings, things like that, is what's allowed to be burned if you meet the requirements. Basically, the requirements are you must be 50 feet from a structure on your property and 300 feet from an occupied structure on your neighbor's property. Those are the general guidelines. Open burning does require a permit, so those that wish to open burn should give us a call in the fire marshal's office and kind of let us know where you live, what you'd like to burn, and we'll provide advice and make sure that you qualify for a permit. And then once the permit is issued, we'll talk about compliance with the permit, and compliance is all about fire and injury prevention. To make sure that a small fire that is used to perhaps dispose of debris doesn't get into a very large incident that would require emergency services to respond.
So definitely what you're talking about is it's a procedure with regard to getting the permit, but also it's an education component. Again, we talk about that with Fire and Rescue Department, letting people know if you haven't done it, or even if you've done that in the past, certainly what the particulars are, how to stay safe, how to make sure that obviously you're not impacting your property as well as your neighbors, because you talk about that as well, because certainly in the wintertime things are a little drier and you know, winds are blowing in situations, so obviously I'm assuming that's why we talk about the distances and things that are incorporated within that ordinance there.
Yes, sir. And there are some exceptions to the ordinance for agricultural practices, forest management, recreational activities. So it's always best to give us a call in the fire marshal's office, and we can cover the aspects of the ordinance to make sure that open burning can be conducted, and if so, can be done in a safe fashion.
All right. Well, before we wrap up today's program, I want to give both of you an opportunity just to kind of remind the citizens of Suffolk as far as whether it's National Fire Prevention Month or whether it's just any old month of the year, as far as some just general thoughts that people need to have in their mind about fire safety, both in their home, at work, at school, whatever, because Chief, as you noted, certainly you're trying to reach all citizens, regardless of age, and there is a lot of education components that go on within the schools. We'll go in possibly in retirement communities as well, as far as programs that y'all put on, or maybe these organizations are doing themselves. But Chief, I want to start with you, just kind of maybe a parting message to everyone, both for National Fire Prevention Month as well as just throughout the year.
The first thing I want to say is please make sure that your house number is posted so that we can find you, and make sure that you keep that posted in a recognizable area so that we can find you. I believe that it is very important that we practice our plan, that we use October to take this as an opportunity to practice, make yourselves familiar with your home. Make sure your windows open and close properly. If you ever had to try to get out of one of those windows, I know people say break the window, but make sure that your windows open and close properly so that if you do need to use that as an escape, you can use that as an escape. I think, too, it's important, too, that we share the message. I believe that we need to look out for our neighbors, and not only in your home, but mention to your neighbors, have you changed your battery in your smoke detector lately? Have you practiced a plan? Don't wait until something happens to them to say that, you know, maybe I should have mentioned to them that they need a smoke detector, or they should have practiced a plan. So not only in your own homes, but let's spread the message of being fire safe this October. And I just wish the citizens a safe October and a safe rest of the year. And I want to say, too, that how privileged I am to be a part of the city of Suffolk and the service fire chief. It is really, really a great honor to be here.
We're glad to have you. That's
Yeah.
indeed.
Thank
And,
you.
and Deputy Chief Dickens, as far as just some parting comments from you, just, people to think about throughout the year, as well as we noted in the month of October.
Yes, sir. First of all, let me thank you for the continued partnership. We have a lot of messages that we like to get out to the community, and this is an excellent venue to do that.
Right.
Such
Yes.
a valued relationship, so I just want to say thank you for being here today.
Sure.
Would like to touch on a lot of the educational programs that we
Sure.
have to offer. It's just such a wide variety of programs that we have. The Fire and Life Safety Camps in the summertime, the Youth Public Safety Academy, a lot of structured programs.
Correct.
But there are a lot of things that we do on a daily basis within every division of the department, not only at the stations and here at fire headquarters, but also out in the community.
Sure.
We love to get out in the community and spread that fire safety message at every level of the department. We welcome those opportunities. Visits here to Fire Station 6 and the Fire Marshal's office. Really enjoy those. A lot of information to share in addition to the National Fire Protection Association website. There's just a lot of information out there. But I think what's key is that our citizens and neighbors know that we're here
Right.
for them, especially on the prevention side. Please come by, give us a call, invite us to come out to your school, to your church, to your civic group. We really welcome those opportunities, and just thankful to be a part of keeping our city safe. Without safety, I don't think we have a whole lot.
That's correct.
So everyone, all of our families, all our neighbors, everybody's safety is paramount, and we want to be a part of that.
Well, again, gentlemen, thank you both for joining us today.
Yes, sir.
Talk about the Fire and Rescue Department, talk about Fire Prevention Month, and again, just really staying safe in your home, your business, your church, your school, wherever that may be, as far as keeping that in mind. And that, again, will do it for this edition of Safety First.